Fantasia, despite being a movie that performed very poorly at the box office, is regarded as a staple in Disney's history. You've doubtless seen the iconic Magician's Apprentice short featuring Mickey Mouse about how corner cutting will always come back to bite you, and the rest of the film is still remembered today as a dazzling and ethereal marriage of experimental animation with beautiful orchestral compositions, if not a little slow at points. Interestingly, Fantasia was not planned to be a single film. Originally, Disney planned to re-release the film every few months in perpetuity, but with a few shorts swapped out in favor of new ones every time, meaning it would never be the same film each time you watched it. But unfortunately, the film underperformed, so the idea was scrapped. If this idea had been realized, however, it would have pioneered a whole new type of cinema altogether, a film that keeps changing every time you watch it. Imagine that. It's like being a Star Wars fan. Even though this idea never made it to fruition, Fantasia's legacy continued to cast a mighty shadow for decades. Fast forward to 1999, and Disney needed something to celebrate the end of the 20th century. Ultimately, the decision was made to bring the long-dead idea of making a second version of Fantasia back from the dead. It would be just that, however, a second version, and only that, not a continuous stream of versions slowly morphing over time. And so, right at the turn of the millennium, Fantasia 2000 was released. This feels, to me, like a half-baked and watered-down version of the original film. The once elegant-looking monologues now look like cheap DVD menus.
For example, the Danish illustrator Kai Nielsen drew these sketches for a segment inspired by Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries.
I don't really have anything to say about half these shorts. One of them is flamingos with the yo-yo. That's the short. One of them has flying whales that are 3D and they fly, and they fly now. But then there's also a handful of genuinely fun ones. My personal favorite is the Noah's Ark short starring Donald and Daisy Duck as they frantically try to load up the Ark with animals. They chose to give him that facial expression while making that pose up against the wall. It was intentional, they know what they're doing, it's on purpose. One thing that really sticks in my craw about Fantasia 2000 is how lazy it feels at times. The film straight up recycles the Magician's Apprentice short from the first Fantasia film. I get that it's iconic and all. I get that the original 1940s idea for a follow-up Fantasia was that it would reuse a lot of the same shorts, but that was 60 years ago, and the whole point of that idea was that Fantasia would never leave theaters, so new shorts would have to be cycled in one at a time. But this isn't part of some never-ending flow of Fantasia experiment. It's a standalone sequel, so reusing shorts from the original just feels like a cheap way to pad the runtime. If I can give props, the final short is aesthetically gorgeous and thematically poignant, conveying a theme of death and rebirth. There is something kind of poetic about ending this film marking Disney's transition into the new millennium on a short about how there are certain things that can never be truly killed. Like Disney. Disney is eternal. Disney will never die. You might as well just give them your money, right? But ultimately, again, like many of these other shorts compilation films, I don't have much to say. Wait a second, is that Penn and Teller? They got Penn and Teller in this movie? Sorry, I just have to rework the list real quick. Just give me a second. Alright, Fantasia 2000 is now at number 1. It's now canon. This is the official new ranking. You know that video you just watched? Well, guess what? It was actually a snippet from a larger video that you can watch here, if you have the time. I mean, I guess it's up to you. I would recommend you watch it, but you know, it's your call. I mean, I don't have time to wait on you anyways. I got birds to feed. But please watch it.